So um, I have published 3 books. This is what they look like: The Liminal Space, and The End of the Beginning, and then the latest is Shadow Work. And I realized that when I published my first book, that it wasn't so much about me and my journey. It was also about sharing with others and connecting and having that magical moment when we can connect through art. So I'm really happy that we could get together today. Next slide. So this is a vulnerable space for everyone. Feel free to put your name and where you're from in the chat if you haven't already. Um, and we will be monitoring the chat in case there's something that I miss, if I miss a question. Um, you can reach me on these socials and my website. My books are on my website. So let's get started. Next slide. I want to share with you some of my favorite poems, and I think my most popular poems, kind of to get the juices flowing. I live in the country. I also have a place in Colorado. I did live, have a place out in North Carolina. So I am taking from these places. Also, I'm taking from my life experience. And um, so you will see that. I can't see the slide deck right now. It's
I
kind of
don't
like,
I don't see it either.
while you're fixing that, I'm going to go ahead and read a couple of poems. So, can everyone still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you, Bonnie. The speaker for the group. Okay, so the first poem um, is called Heal. In the small town, I look up at the crescent moon and the water tower with its painted carousel. Middle Earth is where everything grows. I dreamt of a fluorite necklace. It found me the next day at the fair trade market. I should buy a bowl of tumbled gems and sprinkle them in my house, or hold one in my hand while I sleep, or put a crown over my brow to heal or clear the worry I own. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and read the next poem. Um, so, does anyone know what kintsugi is? You can just unmic yourself and tell me. Oh, Nina. Okay.
Uh, so it's I think it's a Japanese art of mending things by using gold, so that it's still visible, so that the breaks are visible but mended.
Right. And so it's kind of a metaphor for life and how, even though we're broken at times, we can mend ourselves back together with gold and be even more beautiful than before. Kintsugi. At 6, I was labeled poor because my mother sewed our clothes. At 12, I was given an exercise tape for Christmas by a relative who thought I was, you know. 7 years in the choir, but someone else won the solo in my anthem out here on my own. As a 20-something, men made advances on business trips when they shouldn't have. When I married, I had babies. I faded into the background, became numb, and forgot who I was. Actually, I think we're missing part of the poem. Let me just get that. I got to get the rest of it because it's good. Okay. At 44, others wondered if I gave up on God after my husband died. I did not. Today, all of my broken pieces are sealed with poetry, and we are stunning. Okay, and the last poem I'm going to read today is called Narcissus. It's a very short poem, and I would encourage you to even write short poems if you even if you don't think they're a poem, because sometimes they're the most impactful ones. Narcissus, I'm glad you're in love with yourself. Saves one of us the trouble. I see you laughing. Um, so that's just those are some of the poems that, like I said, I love and really, you know, have been very popular and resonate with people. And with poetry, um, I don't know the experience of some of you if you're just starting out or you write poetry a lot, but I think it's really important for everyone to write and also if they feel comfortable sharing because I feel like there's always someone that can relate to what you're saying. And again, that's the magic of art and connection. So even though we don't have the slide, what I want to go over next is tools of the trade. So for me, um, and maybe we'll just give it a second here. Oh, well, I'm just going to keep going. Um, so the best practice, I guess, thought is that you should have a few things and set your intention in space. So I think a comfortable space. So for me, I'm sitting at my desk at my computer, in front of a window where I can look outside, and that's a one of the places that I do write poetry. But I think wherever it is, you should be, you know, clearing yourself, taking a deep breath, and just coming into this space for yourself. And then sometimes, maybe you want to light a candle, have some incense, um, up to you, just setting the mood. And then make sure that you have a paper, pen, marker that you love and they're portable. Um, Sometimes I use the notepad on my iPhone. I thank you for getting the slides back. Um, so sometimes I will use my iPhone, and as a for instance, recently I was in the car wash line, and I thought of a line that I wanted to write down, and so I ended up writing a poem in the car wash. So um, sometimes the inspiration just strikes, and you know I want you to honor that. Maybe you're going to write it on a napkin or, a scrap of paper, but, honor that because sometimes that poem needs to come out. And then the last thing for me, I love music. I love listening to music, playing music. I have a guitar. So I think it's just really important for me. But think about what's important to you so that you feel in a safe space, that you can be vulnerable, and that you can let your thoughts flow. Next slide. So, we're here to write down feelings about people, places, and things. And poets don't look or behave a certain way. We're not wearing berets or chanting or anything like that. Some of us might, but, everyone has a poet inside them. I believe that. It's just having the courage to be vulnerable, to tell your story. Everyone has stories to tell. Um, and I also think that when we explore, we discover. So for a while, I could draw from where I live and things that were happening to me. But at some point, I need to think outside of my immediate place that I'm at and either travel by the mind or go places and meet new people, explore new things. There's so much to be said for traveling and experiencing new things. Um, I think we discover a lot about the world and also ourselves. One year I went to three week-long sessions. One was in South Carolina in Somerville. I went to an old estate there for a week. And then I went to Temecula, California for a residency there. And the third one was with my daughter, she is a painter and she's in her 20s. We went to France to a chateau there for 2 weeks. It was glorious, and many poems came out of that. So, just to encourage you, if you can, to travel and explore. Next slide. So, this is just talking about the fact that free verse is free, and you don't have to um, you don't have to follow any rules. Uh, I think don't worry about rhyming. Don't worry about schemes, number syllables. It encourages you to just get it on the page, and you can refine it for sure. But uh, you know, try not to put too many constraints on yourself to get things out there. And it's a complete thought and moment. Using um, the most efficient words. So, um, yeah, so let's get started. Next slide. So hopefully everyone is has pen and paper ready to go. And I want you to take a moment to think about what you want to write about. Um, what are things you feel and never say out loud? Um, just take a few minutes, start a word bank. You don't have to write sentences. You can write words. You can write a scene, but kind of try to bring your feelings into the world. Um, so let's take a few minutes to do that. Um, Next slide. So again, we're going to bring these feelings into the world. Look inside. Think about what impacts you, something you want to write about. Um, Even the smallest detail. Recently, I wrote about a robin collecting, you know, um, parts for her nest, and it could be part of a poem, right? Just that beautiful moment that you're sitting and watching a robin um, guard over her nest. Um, and don't judge yourself. Don't let the critic tell you that you shouldn't say that. You shouldn't write that down. Just tell it like it is. Stand in your truth and don't forget to breathe. Okay, so let's take 10 minutes. So I'll set the timer. Let's see here. Set a 10-minute timer. Okay, please write down some stuff and don't be afraid. This is your 2-minute warning. Okay. So, would anyone like to share either what they wrote or how they are feeling through the process? I'd love to hear some of your feedback.
I can share as long as I don't have to turn my camera on.
That's fine. It's not a requirement.
Cool. I need to wash my hair, so that's why. Um, okay. It's not the best, but it's something. Um, I don't have a title for it. I just wrote it. But it says, I visit the areas of my childhood less familiar now. I feel the absence. Sorry, my cat is scratching. I feel the absences of the jungle gym, the ice cream joint, my grandmother. The trees know me best. They know the world the best. They stand still for decades, observing. So I wrap myself around the oak's trunk, face pressed against rigid bark, and I ask, do things ever change for the better? That was it.
Well, that's very moving. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
I think everyone in the world today could really use that poem. Yeah. Thank you, Hannah. Would anyone else like to share?
I don't mind sharing. I can't put my hand up, sorry. There's no icon in my in the section.
No worries.
Okay. The walls are as thin as my skin, no greater than paper. I can hear my neighbours arguing again. Things are shifted as if teeth are gritted, grinding across the lower sets. That's chairs, tables on the go, as if flying or skating across the floors. Reminds me of thunder from the heavens. As a child, I'd say, God's moving his furniture again. Oh, there goes the piano. That would be the lower register, heavy handed on the scales. It's a wispy mist of a day outside. I see it from my skyline. The afternoon is moping along corridors of air. No bird song today. No belonging. Myriad halls, a chorus of car roarings by, or snoring, honking as if sneezing out the diesel, the petrol, the gas. The grey, chilled coat of the day cannot catch me inside. It's as if the warmth of the day at the beach could be, in my imaginings, Brighton, Jamaica, Seychelles. My skin is glowing, and within I'm a heat-seeking missile. My mind is haloed in light, golden or creamy white sand shifting through my fingers. It's as if it's a forever sunrise.
Wow, Elizabeth. I actually wonder if you have two poems there. You know, one about your neighborhood and then one about being at the beach. And so um yeah, I just love that. I do feel bad for you with your neighbors.
Yeah, not happy today.
You have beautiful imagery though. Beautiful imagery.
Thank you.
Okay, would anybody else like to share?
I'll share. Um, this is your 2-minute warning. Switch topics. Bring to the table something less durian-like, something for polite company. Do not make me speak my truth.
That feels very personal, Bonnie. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Would
I guess
anyone
I
else
can
like?
share.
Oh, hey, Shell. Okay, great.
These days, the face in the mirror is more ghost than real. No longer sure how to separate image from reality. The mask has melted to the flesh of my face, covering lines that spring more from trauma than laughter. But oh, I am good at hiding it. I excel at not making the room uncomfortable, and wounds go unseen and unacknowledged, tended only by a lone gardener with a black thumb. I'm good with weeds and wildflowers, but fatal to sensitive hothouse flowers. My bushels of truth are put up in dusty notebooks stacked on shelves, preserved for posterity in the dark.
Thank you, Shell. That's very touching, and yeah, means a lot to me. My personal life. Would anyone else like to share?
I would love to share.
Okay.
Said each morning when I rise from the cotton fibers that line my bed, I step onto wooden floors that are always much too cold. The chill they send through me is my morning cup of coffee, setting my nervous system on fire and starting a battle within my mind. One side says, "Rest more, my girl. This world asks too much of you," while the other scolds, "You're already behind." And the tug of war bleeds into the rest of my morning as I watch my cat curled up on those cotton sheets, reveling in the softness. As I draw back the curtains that push back against my attempts to welcome the sunlight. As I ignore the pangs of hunger that echo in my stomach, rushing through the to-do lists and responsibilities as if they are what will keep me alive.
I feel like these are speaking to me. I don't know about you guys. I wish I had all these poems right here with me. I really do. They're just amazing. Yeah, it's the sometimes the things we tell ourselves, right? And okay. Would anyone else like to share? All right. Well, let's go to um, next slide. So I would encourage you when you go back to this poem, and I hope that all of you will keep these poems forever. Um, tweak it, maybe take out unnecessary words, change the lines and where they're coming in, and then use fresh words. My editor's always saying, "What's a fresh way of saying that?" And I've heard a lot of fresh ways of saying things on this call today. Um, and, instead of me saying, um, the robin is on my deck, maybe I'm saying, um, you know, the spring fowl is is chasing her needs or something. But it's just a different way of saying things. Just think about it, and sometimes move things around to better tell your story. The poem that was I was telling you about earlier that I wrote in the car wash, I had a line that came to me, and it was, since you left, my mind is a junkyard. And so that was what came to me, and that is actually the last line of the poem. So I talked about the junkyard and different things, and then that was the last line. And I like to have in my poems, if I can, I'm creating this imagery, and then maybe you're thinking about something in your life, and then at the end, snap, there's something that just hits you. And that's how I like to work my poems, kind of a little um, pattern for myself. But that's what I like to do. And I think it makes a difference for me. So why don't we take 5 more minutes and do some more editing? And if you have questions, you can certainly answer them. But let's do that. hmm And then we can share if you guys have made some changes, or folks that haven't shared would like to share at that time. Okay, let's come back to the table. Would anyone like to share how their process is going or their poem?
I can share how the process is going.
Sounds good.
I I feel like I wrote this very vulnerable poem, and I think I usually write more like an idea or a thought, and this was like really about me healing. So that was a really interesting experience. Uh, but it's hard to edit to make it better because it's just how I feel.
Can you go to the next slide? I think that it's important to understand that today doesn't need to be the last time that you work on this poem. And so if it's really personal to you and it really feels like raw and not something that you want to fully deal with today, then you can come back to it and maybe, you'll discard it, but maybe you'll decide that something else made you want to finish it. I know for me that there have been times when I knew that I needed to finish, I knew that there was a poem and that I needed, eventually I would figure it out. And I will give you an example. So I um, am a widow. I was widowed 13 years ago. My husband had a pulmonary embolism. It's very sudden, tragic. And on either side of me, I live in the country, on either side of me, um, the women um, also became widows. So there were two of us, and then the third widow came to me, and before she was widowed, she said, my husband's sick, and he's got lung cancer, stage 4, and I was very sad for her, um, and I knew at that time, that I was going to write a poem about this because I thought it was really unusual. And then when she came to me about 6 months later, he had died. And she said, I'm okay most of the time, but today I came home and I saw his shoes and I just lost it. And I knew then that I could write this poem. So it took a little while. It's called Widow Lane. And I just want you to understand that when you have feelings and things you might want to write about, sometimes it takes a little time for it all to come together and really make sense, that what needs to get out there. So give yourself space and time and grace. And sometimes it's not going to go anywhere, but sometimes it could be great. So don't be afraid of that. Next slide. Does anyone else want to share their work, their poetry today?
I don't mind going back over what I did earlier.
All right, Elizabeth, I'd love to hear it.
Okay. So I've added a few bits more.
Okay.
I'm home, but not as a child alone. Sitting on bed, head full of cold. The walls are as thin as my skin, no greater than black and white news on paper. A yin and yang thing, as ink seeps from a page and the stories begin. I can hear my neighbours arguing again. Things are shifting as if teeth are gritting, grinding across their lower sets. That's chairs, tables on the go, as if flying or skating across the floors. Reminds me of thunder from the heavens. As a child, I'd say, God's moving his furniture again. Oh, there goes the piano. That would be the lower register, heavy-handed on the scales. Turning to my one attic window, I am that poet in the garret, watching a wispy mist of a day outside, seeing it from my skyline, condensation slipping, dripping on glass. The afternoon is moping along corridors of air. No birds today, they have no song, no sense of belonging. I hear the myriad hallways of roads, corners that hold a chorus of cars, roaring by or snoring, honking as if sneezing out the diesel, the petrol, the gas. The grey chill coat of the day cannot catch me. Tracking back inside, I'm in my mind. The inner me is as warm as a day at the beach. Could be Brighton, Jamaica, Seychelles. It feels like transcendence. Any moment one can reach it, as hand seeks the switch to turn on the light. My skin is glowing, and within I'm a heat-seeking missile. My mind haloed in light. Golden or creamy white sand shifts through my fingers. It's as if I'm living in a forever sunrise.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I loved the journey that you took us on and how you brought everything together with your childhood, with where you were and where you wished you were. And it just was really magical.
Thank you.
Hmm. Would anybody else like to share?
Hi. So, oh, sorry, Nina. You can go.
Are you sure, Hannah? I can go after you.
I mean, it's really up to you. I was just gonna talk about how my poem, I feel like I have way too many ideas and now I like lost the original poem. Like I feel like there's a whole middle section that I need now.
You go first.
Okay. Yeah, so I was looking at my poem and I always write kind of a small first draft that doesn't have a lot of descriptions, I guess. And as I was writing the 5 minutes, I had more ideas of how I could add more to it. Um, so now I kind of feel like I need more than 5 minutes to actually like work on it. Um, but I do like where it's going, and that's really good because sometimes I have a lot of poems that I don't like where they're going, and I don't know where I'm supposed to go from there. So this is one of the poems that I'm excited to keep working on.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Um, I was just gonna share what I'd written or what I've written after the edit. The edit's mainly just uh, extra words that were unnecessary. So I can see the top of my neighbour's unruly apple tree. A few days ago, from the desk, I noticed how abundant the green leaves were, a striking light colour caught between the yellow and green spectrum. Maybe the next day my curtains remained closed. Perhaps I didn't notice, or it was the day I left early for the city. I looked up and saw pink blossoms had arrived. Like a child who becomes a pre-teen overnight, almost outgrowing the space of my window. The branches are as straight as those of poplar trees, a direct line to sunlight, to God. Many host a bud, a tight collection of minute pink blossom petals. Some have burst open to praise daylight hours with their whole selves. This new growth hides her view of our broken shed roof, our over-wintered garden, the jungle of our outdoor space, a pretty blind, pulled over the devastation of it all.
It's beautiful, Nina. It's just beautiful. I love the imagery. Thank you. So we have 10 minutes left. I know that uh, we need to have some um, closing announcements, but I just am so grateful for you today and that you spent time and that you shared, you took part in this. And I know that some of you may, like you said, continue on with the poem and hopefully this gets you in a place where you feel comfortable with it. Like this is something I can do. I'm comfortable with this, and it's sometimes it can be a form of therapy. It can be a way of getting our feelings out. Sometimes I um, argue with myself on whether it's therapy or not for me. I don't want to be writing another poem about grief, but I do it because I think it's a good release, and in the end, I think maybe someone will benefit from it. So you've become a poet today, if you weren't already, and uh, I think that maybe if you allow yourself, you'll be able to, see things like you hadn't seen them before. But I really encourage you to write. Maybe keep a journal if you haven't already. I have many because at one point I told people I was a writer, so every so often I'll get a bunch of journals. And of course, I'm at the store and I think I need another journal. Uh, but feel free to share your poems with friends. I'm sure they would love to hear. There's always friends that would love to hear poems. You just need to find them. And if you feel like it, maybe you want to publish your works. Again, I feel as though the world needs to hear what you have to say. For me, I self published mine just maybe out of naivete, but I was working with an editor from New York, Simon Van Boy, and he has helped me greatly. I meet with him on a monthly basis. We go over my poems, he edits them, tells me how I need to, 1 out of 20 is going to be a good poem. So uh, it's been a really good process for me. And so I encourage you to go down that route. You can also seek to publish your works in magazines and online magazines. There definitely are avenues for that if you haven't looked into it. So I encourage you to do that because, like I said, I think it's always good to share your work. Next slide. Thank you to our sponsors. Did you want to say a few words?
For sure. One, thank you so much, Carrie. This was absolutely wonderful. I personally love the piece that I wrote, and I'm excited to keep coming back to it. And I'm sure other folks can say the same. I wanted to kind of echo what you were just saying for everyone. Share, 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 share in whatever form that looks like to you, whether it's sharing just with a close friend or finding a local open mic in your community or publishing your work or sharing on social media. There's so many spaces that your poetry can fill, and I definitely encourage you guys to continue to do that. I wanted to shout out a couple of cool events that we have going on. I know not everybody's based in Jacksonville, but if you are and you're looking for a space to share, we have an open mic that's happening downtown at Chamblin's Uptown Coffee Shop on Saturday. You can find more details about it at the Jack's Poetry Fest website. If anyone's interested in participating in another workshop, our next one is going to be next Tuesday, April 14th. And we have, I believe, 8 more that are going to be happening throughout the rest of the month. So definitely check out our website. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. If you are able to take a screenshot or scan this QR code and give us some feedback. If there's any ways that you think that we could enhance our workshop experiences, we would love to hear that. One of the suggestions that we had gotten last year was we run out of time and not everyone gets enough time to share their poetry. So in order to give some people some extra space, we're actually going to be having a closing ceremony this year. It's going to be on Sunday, April 26th, as you guys can see on the screen. We're going to have a open Zoom call, and it's essentially a virtual open mic. So anything that you write throughout all of the workshops this month, you're going to have the space and time to share, and we'll celebrate with each other, and we'll invite our instructors to come back and join us as well, and it'll be a really great time. So if you're interested in participating, you again find it on the jackspoetryfest.org website, and all of the fun details are there. And yeah, thank you guys again. I hope that you had a lovely afternoon with us, and that you keep on writing.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.